Thank you for tuning in to LezView. My name is Monica.
My name is Jay.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Cheyenne.
Today we're going to be discussing the topic, the cons, the challenges that black couples, same-sex couples face in America. It's been known and it's been said in many different arenas that black gay couples deal with care. They deal with issues in their income status and all these other plethora of different things that they deal with. And today we're going to be talking about those specific things. So, ladies.
Jay, and I am actively researching the same-sex couple arena as far as finances, housing, healthcare. Black same-sex couples do not make as much money as sexual couples. They also do not make as much money as white same-sex couples.
So tell us a little bit about where you've done some of your research and what you found.
Well, I've looked up on the internet and through some other various sources that I do have at home, books and stuff that I have at home. Healthcare issues that are not provided to black same-sex couples. People that live together. Same-sex couples, they can't file their children on their health care plans. If one couple works and the other couple doesn't, they're not entitled to one another's health care plans, Social Security benefits, any of those things. I forget what the thing is. It's about we are excluded from 1,193 benefits that the U.S. government offers today as same-sex couples as opposed to heterosexual couples.
So, this is also coming off the light of, now Washington, D.C. has just signed on to be one of the states that has legalized gay marriage. So what type of effect do you think that that's going to have on, because, Washington, D.C., large place, large number of African Americans. Do you think that's going to have a positive effect on the status of black gay couples in America, or where do you think that's kind of taking us?
Well, that depends on how they, yes, they did approve the marriage law there, but that depends on whether they confine that marriage law to only residents of Washington, D.C., such as they did in the state of Massachusetts.
Yes.
So if that being the case, that means that one person would have to literally move to Washington, get a fixed address for at least 6 months, and then get married to be entitled to their partner's benefits. But as it stands now, most gay couples do not have the same benefits as heterosexual couples do. You take your black male gay couple. Men naturally earn more money than women anyway. So black men have more access. They talk to one another more. You take two black males, one's making $60,000 a year, the other one's making $50,000 a year. You combine those two and $10,000 a year. They're more likely to own homes, as opposed as you take your black male couples.
Or female couples, rather?
Well, really, even your black male gay couples earn about $20,000 less than your white gay couples.
Okay.
So still, even home ownership for them would be difficult. So as far as like having, okay, you take a gay woman, a single parent that has children, but she doesn't work, but her partner works. Her partner has to find a way to get insurance for her girl and the kids.
I think you're being a little, I'm sorry, I think you're being a little bit too particular about where exactly the money and who has a child, and I just think...
Well, the reason why I'm mentioning is because the reality is for us as lesbians, a lot of lesbians do have children.
Of course a lot of lesbians
have children.
And don't want to recognize that they have children. And a lot of them are not willing to even get married or have, I mean, this population of lesbians with children are uneducated, honestly.
That's true.
Do you think that has to do with the age of the... Because, I guess I'm finding that a lot of my friends, I'm 30 years old, and I have so many friends who have children. And so we have younger parents now as opposed to having, were back in the day, as they say, most of the parents were older. Do you think that when you say that there's a lack of education, do you think that that ties into folks in their age, or is a lack of education around people just actually knowing the system and what to do and what not to do?
Basically, they're very uneducated and naive to the system.
Okay.
So we as Black lesbians or older lesbians, 30 and up, are, say, at a crisis in our life, and we say, okay, now. So then you have these young lesbians now coming out who are just into the colors and to the fashion statement and just having fun for the moment, you know, gay and happy and pride and prideful. So they forget about what they need to do in life, you know, as far as being educated and finances and things such like that.
Well, I think we forget about our own struggle. I think that we get to a certain point in life that we think that we have made it and we are beyond. To get back to the actual point, when you're talking about lesbian couples and some of the trials and tribulations that we actually go through, I think, and disparities in income, you know, African Americans as a culture, period, heterosexual or straight, gay, whatever the case may be, struggle when you're talking about hitting the glass ceiling, having the adequate and equal financial incomes to our white counterparts. But I think that we have, in regards to, you know, for DC, having the cost to live, being a former resident of DC, it's hard to live no matter what your preference is.
Right.
So I think in that regard, we need to definitely, the education is a part of that, but it's educating ourselves on who we put to represent us within our organization. We all pay taxes. We all are eligible to vote, unless we're any convicted criminals in the state that don't allow you to vote. So we're all able to vote, and we all have the influence, as Sandra was speaking, we all have that same influence to make a change in any location, in any locale.
Yeah, but still, you know, you have to look at it as a whole, you know. Gay couples are left out of so many things. We do not have equal rights. Even if we get married, a lot of states won't recognize that marriage. Okay. You could get, like, I've known a lot of people who would go to Canada and get married, bring back their certificates, and they're not recognized as a legal marriage here in the United States.
And that's going to be policy, that's what happens in DC. So that's what's on 16th Street Pennsylvania Avenue. Right. That's us making our voices heard. Right. And when we talk about the disparities in the Black, gay and lesbian, transgender culture, that's because we have to be the ones who get up and fight, protest, petition our congressmen, our senators, and and be our own elected officials to make sure that these things happen. I don't necessarily, I mean, we all know what the problems are, which we'll discuss and we'll talk about, but we need the action to follow. And I think, again, that once, you know, you do have two maybe successful same-sex people in a relationship, we kind of forget that trial and tribulation, those fights that our people before us put forth so that we can have these things. We can have Adams Morgan in DC. We can have P-Town. We can have, you know, San Francisco's. San Francisco's honestly aren't really tailored to the African American culture. Right. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really cater to us. Right. So it's time in which, so we have Atlanta, right? That's sort of that Black Mecca.
The Black gay Mecca.
Right. The Black gay Mecca. Right. But, you know, what about the Charlottes or, you know, the Mississippis or, you know, and it has to, you know, with us, with, you know, the people who live the life, who walk the life, who know the, you know, who know the issues, and we make the change.
I think that you brought up a really interesting point, Dana, around the organizing that this is going to take within the Black gay community. So, you know, we're having this discussion around the, you know, the disparities and the different things that we deal with within the Black gay community. But, you know, I think it's really time for us to start to talk about, like, the avenues that we have as, you know, as a community to help us move forward with that, to educate us around the different things that are going forward. So I know that's a lot of what we're going to talk about right here on this panel every time. Thank you all so much for tuning in to LezView. We hope that you return with us next week, next Wednesday, where we're going to be talking about some international issues and looking at our brothers and sisters across the waters in Africa as we look at Uganda's bill that's proposed to criminalize LGBT folks in that country. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.